Guys, while filming this video, there were some of the events start to happen in Middle East, the retaliation strike of Iran. That's why this video will be just a little chaotic. I'll try to edit it as logical as possible. Well, anyways, you'll see it yourself. Update on Middle East, update on Ukraine. Here we go. Oh, it happened. Iranian representatives went to meet with Vladimir Putin. You see, Putin is happy, but he is not willing to secure or try to do something for Iran nowadays. Why? Well, because the United States is already involved, and Putin, well, he's silent because he wants to make his own deal with Donald Trump over Ukraine. And Donald Trump a few hours ago tweeted this: "It's not politically correct to use the term regime change for Iran, but if the current Iranian regime is unable to make Iran great again, why wouldn't there be a regime change? Mega! Make Iran great again." And you know, guys, it is kind of interesting because just a few hours before this tweet was posted on Truth Social, J.D. Vance said that United States of America is not looking for regime change in Iran. They're there just to cancel the Iranian nuclear program that was already cancelled, by the way. Well, at least there is the high probability that the strikes of B-2 Spirit bombers were successful. But it was funny, you know, to hear the statements from J.D. Vance which were cancelled by Donald Trump himself. So it's the total chaos in United States politics. And the main agent of this chaos is Donald Trump. For now, we're at the stage that dictators suffer because of the Donald Trump's actions, but it doesn't mean that we're gonna be at the same track all the way. After all, Donald Trump is really unpredicted. I just hope that one day he will decide to support Ukraine, but the probability for it is quite low. And this is the Foreign Affairs Ministry of the Russian Federation. The airstrikes on territory of a sovereign state, regardless of the justification offered, constitutes a blatant violation of international law. That is what they do to Ukraine like every freaking day. The fact that the strikes were executed by the permanent member of the United Nations Security Council. Is Russia the permanent member? Yeah. 2. Double standards of the Russian Foreign Ministry. Obviously, they didn't like American strike on Iran. And this is the picture from Tehran. Israel continued to strike lots of the army facilities in the city, including the headquarters of the Islamic Revolutionary Guard. At least those 2 buildings were perished today because of the airstrikes. Israel aviation continued to feel absolutely free in Iranian airspace, so Iran turned into some sort of the Afghanistan. If we speak about the air defense, I guess I already told it in one of my videos. Many Iranian fighter jets like this F-14 were hit by Israeli Air Force. However, not long time ago, Russia supplied some of the Sukhoi 35, I guess, fighter jets. Also, Iran continued to lose its military. For example, the commander of the Sarallah Corps was eliminated today. His name was Nasaint Niyat. We have just received this information published in some of the social media. Plus, Israel continued strikes on Fordo nuclear facility, which was hit yesterday by American bombers. Why Israel continued to do it? Well, they think that Iran may evacuate some of the equipment from Fordo, so they block the tunnels there, exits and entrance. Meanwhile, Reuters referred to United States officials. They say that Iranian retaliation against the United States forces could come soon. Even though United States officials are sure about the successful operation conducted by the United States Air Force and that nuclear infrastructure of Iran was annihilated, as many say, but still there is the question of the fate of Iran's uranium stockpile, roughly 400 kilograms, 900 pounds, something like that. We have the information from multiple of the sources that Iran was capable to take out its stockpiles of uranium from very important nuclear facilities, including Fordo. That uranium was enriched by 60%. And actually, it's very close to enrich it very fast to the stage of 90%. This gap is usually covered much faster. So now it's up to intelligence to find out those stockpiles, and it's up to Air Force of Israel to finish it off. Could it potentially create some sort of the nuclear fallout? Well, it depends. There is the new warning published by Israel for the citizens of Tehran. Here they say that civilians should stay away from the military infrastructure because it will be targeted. Well, for Iran, we see not de-escalation but escalation. They continue to launch their ballistic missiles. This regime is fully out of rails, out of control, and it wants to escalate. So guys, from the United States, it could be in your country within. I mean, Iranians could have their agents on your soil. The border was poorly controlled and still poorly controlled. And doesn't matter what Trump says that he took it under control. No, still there are illegal immigrants coming from Mexico. Those could be Iranian or Iranian agents. Not all of them, obviously, but Iran may use the whole border of USA to send their people. As you understand, it's very easy to get weapons in the United States, so please be careful, be prepared, and if I was American, I would avoid gatherings of people like concerts or something like that for a few months, for 2-3 months. Well, we have the confirmation that Iran was capable to shut down some of the drones, and definitely they shut down at least 3 drones since the start of the Israeli special military operation on territory of Iran, and for this you need just portable manpad. The main air defense systems were mostly targeted by Israeli aviation. At the same time, some of the Iranian officials tell CNN that Tehran wants the United States to pay for its attacks directly. Yeah, yesterday Ayatollah members of parliament burned some of the American flags. For now, it's their only response, but yes, the United States should be prepared for any sort of this scenario. Again and again, there are tons of the influencers on Twitter who publish those kind of the fake AI-generated images. Yeah, here they look more or less like real, but in fact, it's just a fake freaking image. We have more visual information about the Natanz facility. There was also underground construction or structure, nuclear facility you may see. There is the hole, and some of the concrete dust went outside, very similar to the pictures we saw yesterday, satellite images from the Fordo facility. It tells that the strike with a high probability is successful. Fordo and Natanz are the only facilities which Israel couldn't strike using their own aviation. It means that the United States of America did the main part of the job and Israel would just continue its military operation, at least for the couple of more weeks. But at the same time, Iran officials stated today that they are ready for 2 years of war with the weaponry they have. Okay, we'll see. After all, guys, I would bet that this war will not continue for more than 2-3 maximum months. I think like that. And this is the Isfahan structure, which was destroyed by Tomahawk missiles launched from some of the submarines, plus Israeli Air Force added more. So 3 of the facilities with a high probability were totally eliminated. Oh boy. Dmitry Medvedev just rose the confrontation between Russia and the United States. Yesterday, Medvedev told that Iran should obtain nuclear bomb and some of the allies even may send it to Iran. Maybe he meant Russia. And here Donald Trump reacts on that. Did I hear former President Medvedev from Russia casually throwing around the N-word, nuclear, and saying that he and other countries would supply nuclear warheads to Iran? Did he really say that, or it is just a figment of my imagination? If he did say that, and if confirmed, please let me know immediately. The N-word should not be treated so casually. I guess that's why Putin's the boss? And the rest he says of how powerful United States Army really is with its nukes also. Well, I would say kind of the interesting tweet. It seems like the bad cat run between Donald Trump and Putin. Maybe the name of the black cat is Dmitry Medvedev. Well, anyways, even Putin's close advisor Ushakov says that there is the halt in negotiations between USA and Russia about warming up the relations and economy trade, something like that. So those talks understandably were stopped because Donald Trump saw that Putin doesn't react on his proposals. That's why in a nearby perspective I do not expect any sort of the Witkov visits to Moscow. Donald Trump really thought somehow that he could make a deal with Putin, but reality is completely different. There is completely a sick mafia regime in Russia, KGB mafia. Yeah, we complain a lot about Donald Trump, how big idiot he really is. He's delusional. He has the dream team, which is totally incompetent as well as he is. But Russian regime is way more sick. It is way more evil. And unfortunately, those guys, they're not idiots, they're not fools. Those bastards, they have their targets to restore the Soviet Empire or Russian Empire, and they don't care how they may achieve it by wasting their own people, like already million losses out there in Russia, but they continue the stupid war in Ukraine. Trump will never understand it because, first of all, as I say to you, he is incompetent idiot, but the second reason that the perception of the world is completely different from Russian mafia elite and from American elite. I guess the previous United States president understood it. I mean, Joe Biden, he understood the threat which Russia possessed to the world, but the new president, well, maybe he just started to realize after open humiliation from Putin. Well, Putin was today in a meeting with his military. There were many of the generals, intelligence services, and Putin stated that they continued to modernize Russian Tupolev 160 strategic bombers. Just a reminder, Russia is unable to produce those any longer, they're just able to modernize. So with the spiderweb operation, Ukraine actually nailed the most sensitive part of the Russian aviation, strategic aviation. Those losses were just irreversible for Russia, but now they start to use Tupolev 160, more modern airplanes, more. Before they kept those mostly out of use because they waste the resource of those machines. The more you fly, the more you waste the resource and the more maintenance you need to perform on the airplanes. Also, Putin recalled Oreshnik, long forgotten super weaponry of Russian Federation. Putin stated that they will start to produce it massively. He also mentioned that Russia doesn't possess a threat for European Union countries, for NATO countries, and that Russia will not strike those first. Well, the same thing Putin said about Ukraine back in 2014, in 2018. A couple of days before the full-scale attack of Russia on Ukraine, the Russian Foreign Minister Lavrov said that it's nonsense that Russia would strike Ukraine, so we shouldn't believe this guy. And well before he even stated that Crimea is Ukrainian and it should never be the part of the Russian territory. All of the authorities were agreed with Ukraine and who said that Russia should take Crimea. Those are just traitors of Russia. Now he is the traitor of Russia, probably himself. And there was the time that Putin stated that he will never go further than for the second term. Now he is 25 years in power. He says lies after lies, fakes after fakes. That is how Russia works. And any sort of the deal signed with Russia was absolutely nothing. Alright, Qatar shuts down airspace temporarily to ensure safety of visitors and residents. It seems like Iran may strike some of the military base on territory of Qatar. It is crazy because Qatar is the huge hub with a big airline, Qatar Airways. I have even some friends flying there. The airline is actually nice. I also want to apply, but I guess this region is not for me, too hot. Well, anyways, if they close their airspace, it might create a huge chaos with air transportation in this entire region. Well, it seems like they have to close it for the safety measures, and it is understandable. Also, we have the information that Turkish companies cancel flights to United Arab Emirates, probably afraid also about the retaliation strikes of Iran targeting bases in UAE. But again, if we check out the satellite images from the Qatar airbase of the United States, you may see many of the airplanes which were taken away, so the base is absolutely absent. Well, Iran may strike it and say that they annihilated lots of the Americans, but de facto, no. There will be no any casualties, I guess, if they perform this retaliation strike on Qatar base of the United States. By the way, it's the biggest base in the region. And there are the airplanes on the ground here. Qatar is fully closed. Still, there are the flights from Dubai and to Dubai. Kind of the busy traffic here, but maybe Qatar knows something, maybe United States warned Qatar and we should expect a retaliation strike this evening or this night. The Fox News says that it's probably the target, i.e. Udeid Air Base in Qatar. The base is empty and we understand that. Yeah, some of the planes are in a holding pattern, some divert to the nearby airports. Well, maybe you already know what happened there by the time you watched this video. Maybe there was definitely the strike of Iran on American base, which could lead to more escalation. I think in that case, Donald Trump would use bombers once again on some of the infrastructure in Iran. He really enjoyed the show, from what I understood. From what I understood, Trump is also concerned about the oil prices. To the Department of Energy, drill baby drill, and I mean now. Before he tweeted, "Everyone keep oil prices down, I'm watching." You are playing right into the hands of the enemy. Don't do it. The enemy? Maybe Russia? Kind of the interesting stuff here, because for China, for example, the low oil prices are actually profitable. But for Russia, no, they need high oil prices. Well, maybe for Iran as well. Oh boy, time runs really fast. Guys, it happened exactly 2 years ago. 2 years ago, Prigozhin started his march to Moscow, and somehow he turned away from it, not reaching his main goal to destabilize Russia, to ruin it. Because if his forces went to Kremlin, the events could be like unpredictable at all. But for sure, Russia would change a lot. Yeah, it's just a part of the history, my friends. We live in current reality, so Prigozhin turned away. He didn't fully fulfill his fate. He just shut down some of the Russian helicopters and the airplanes, kaputted a couple of the vehicles, and did kind of the huge sensation which we tend to forget. Forget how Russian regime is unable to control its own military force, because Prigozhin, Utkin, Wagner himself, with the Wagner group, they were the part of Russian army. Guys, I'm absolutely sure that there will be one more Prigozhin in the future. At least the events which are happening inside Russia, they push someone to go to Moscow once again with kind of the huge military force, and they will not repeat Prigozhin's mistakes, because as we know, he was kaputted. But before that march, he told the things as they are. Wagner chief accuses Moscow of lying to public about Ukraine. Wagner army fought in this war, but Prigozhin himself, I think he wasn't really supportive towards it. He stated that Russian oligarchs from Putin's circle, they started this war. He didn't accuse Putin directly. He called him once a delusional old man, that's it. He was mostly critical to the Russian military command and Russian oligarchy. Well, at least he showed that the Russian regime is actually weak, because there was no resistance also from civilians. They just let this guy go, and that's it. Remember Kadyrov Ahmad battalion, which stuck in the traffic jam on the way to Rostov. Rostov was taken by Wagner in a matter of hours, by the way. And he openly said that Russia fucked up in Ukraine. They were forced to leave Kiev Oblast, Kherson, Kharkiv, not because it was the goodwill gesture, but because the Ukrainian army was stronger than the Russian one. By the way, he also predicted the huge fight on the Russian territory. He said that Ukraine will enter Belgorod, Bryansk or Kursk regions. And remember, and just recall how Ukraine started the Kursk operation. It was really a blitzkrieg. Russian army ran away together with, again, Ahmad battalion. And Ukraine actually stayed there for 9 months, forcing Russia to spread and disperse their forces. Yeah, Russia sent part of their troops to Kursk Oblast from the southern part of occupied Ukraine. 2 years ago, guys. We are here with you for already very long time. Thank you so much for watching me. Thank you so much for pressing your likes. Thank you for your subscriptions. Thank you for supporting me on Patreon and membership of the channel. By doing so, you just help me a lot. We're with you like friends here, like this big, huge pro-Ukrainian community, and we're discussing not just the news about Ukraine, but the world news now, because the confrontations between autocracies and democracies, they're rising up, and unfortunately, they will continue to escalate, at least for a few years. I'm still will be here with you on this YouTube channel. Hopefully. So yeah, let's continue with other news. The last night, Russia again launched many of the Shahid drones to hit the capital city of Kiev. 200, 300 drones every night in Ukrainian airspace. They hit also Odessa city, some sort of the school there. Just some random civilian building, as you may see. It's not the only one which was hit. Russia is just an aggressor state, and something should be done to stop it somehow. Well, the only thing that I see is to support Ukraine with more weaponry. And by the way, Ukraine is working now on ballistic missile production. I'm speaking about Sapsan. The range of it will be very good, up to 500 kilometers, and potentially Ukraine may reach infrastructural facilities of Moscow. Some decision-making points in Kremlin, who knows? Rutte, what the hell? You know what this guy stated? That our NATO alliance is so powerful that Russia wouldn't dare to attack us. Guys, this is a delusional policy. Just check out what NATO has in its military and check out what Russia has. Yeah, NATO is powerful, it's a mighty force, but without the United States of America, it will struggle, even in Europe, protecting itself. I wouldn't tell like that, because some of the politician regimes out there in Hungary, for example, or Slovakia, they will oppose rising up the limit for NATO members to invest in its own armies. A very, very, very stupid statement from Mark Rutte. You should expect Russia to attack you, and Estonia is now digging some of the trenches between them and the Russians just in case, and they're doing it absolutely correctly. Because with Putin, with this crazy Russian regime, you'll never know, and then Putin will test your NATO alliance, whether you may react on the strike or not. And those could be not even Russians officially, like remember those green men in Crimea without any sort of the flags, patches, just some random green man may appear in Estonia, Latvia, Lithuania, Poland. They would say that they're rising to protect Soviet monuments, Russian language, Russians themselves. Absolutely should expect that scenario to happen. Rutte is a fool if he says like that. I guess now about the topic I don't want to talk about, but I have to. I'll not show you this video fully. I published it already on my Telegram. Here on this platform I cannot show it to you fully, but those are the clusters from the Russian Iskander missile, ballistic missile, which was launched on training facility of the Ukrainian army in Mykolaiv Oblast. This training ground is located roughly 60 kilometers away from the front line, and still Russian surveillance drones are able to fly for more than 100 kilometers, usually 100, 110. So Ukrainian military command should finally understand that placing the training grounds or drills or putting the soldiers all together in formations within the range of 100 kilometers is damn risky for those soldiers at first, because commanders, they're usually somewhere else. And I see it happening again and again every month, sometimes every 2 weeks. I see those strikes on Ukrainian forces. Mainly those soldiers are not soldiers yet, they're just on training, they were mobilized and sent there. For example, in Mykolaiv Oblast, they have never been on the front lines, and many of those will never be at the front lines because they basically lost their lives. Yeah, Russian missile did it, but the main reason is the stupidity of the Ukrainian command. Ukrainian army needs reforms. We have the evidence that reforms should be conducted right away. Zelensky stated that they will investigate the case, that there will be some of the reforms, blah, blah, blah. But you know, guys, then I see those videos, it demoralizes me and many of the Ukrainians, also Ukrainian army, Ukrainian citizens, because they understand, okay, I'm gonna go to army and I'll be kaputted on a training ground by a Russian missile. What the hell? Like, can you provide safety for me at least there on Ukrainian territory? Because Ukraine is big. Why not to send all the soldiers further than this facility was placed? It's crazy, guys. It's crazy. I don't have any sort of the explanation. Maybe some of the Ukrainian generals are working for Russia. Who knows? Maybe investigations should be done against those generals. It could be like that, because it happens too often. And I tell the things as they are on this channel, guys. We're not speaking about, hey, positive news, Ukraine is on counterattack. No, this is the reality of war, guys. Ukraine does mistakes. Ukrainian command is also at least partially incompetent. And our competent military, they also tell about those issues, those problems, which likely instead of Russia, Ukrainians do not hide. We speak about those, we raise the awareness, and that is how we change. Russians, they will not change, they're the same. Well, for now, Ukrainian army is more competent. It is real like that. But those cases continue to happen. That drives me mad, guys. But I have to tell about it. For now, I don't have the numbers of how many people lost their lives there, but it could be a big number because I saw this image and yeah. And we have the report from Axios that Israel detected the launch of at least 6 ballistic missiles by Iran against Qatar. They're going to Qatar military base of United States of America. Well, if they hit some other infrastructure, Qatar would not like it. Explosions heard over Doha in Qatar. Over Doha in Qatar? That's crazy. And actually, if we check out the map, you may see that the airbase is very close to the capital city. So this is the Doha capital city. And that's the airbase of the United States, kind of the big infrastructure. They have, lots of the airplanes, if we zoom in, but all of them were taken away. What is left may be fuel storages, munition storages, which potentially could be hit, but again, the precision of the Iranian ballistic missiles, it is not so great. I'm recording this video. By the time I will edit this video, I may update some of the information about the events happening just right now while I am filming it. Iran also launched missiles targeting United States forces in Iraq. Clash report says that, very fresh information 36 seconds ago. Yeah, we have videos coming already. And probably missiles were intercepted, we'll see. I guess what they have is THAAD and Patriot missiles there. Information is coming and coming. Multiple of the interceptors were launched. Yeah, Iran did a very stupid move, attacking United States military bases. There will be a response from Donald Trump because we understand already his psychology, mindset in general, that he will not leave it like that, I guess. I wonder why Iran did it really. 6 missiles to Qatar, one missile to Iraq. If you had like 100 missiles, really to show that you can do something, but everything of that will be just intercepted. And well, on the other hand, if everything of that is intercepted and if there is no like real damage towards United States military bases infrastructure, important infrastructure, if no one dies during this attack, I mean, Trump may not respond in this case. He would just say that everything worked well and all the missiles were intercepted. That's it. We defend it. Yes, Iran's anti-air defense report active at United States Al-Assad Air Base in western Iraq. But if there is just a single missile, it's not a big case. Or at least 10 of the missiles were fired at Qatar, but still it's not a great number. Iran's also now being reported in Bahrain and Kuwait. Wow. Maybe because they're just close to Qatar. Arab Emirates also closed their airspace. Escalation in the Middle East, we'll see a response from United States and maybe from some of those countries. So if Iran continue to do those stupid moves, it means that they may block actually the Straits of Hormuz and the way out from the Red Sea. They may try to do it, definitely, if they attack American bases based off USA, the first military out there in the world with uncontrolled and unpredicted president. They're risking, really. And as it was reported, Donald Trump is now in the situational room with high military command of the United States. Understandable. Or I guess this video is already kind of long. I'll keep you updated on situation in Middle East, I guess, and in Ukraine as well. She forgot to turn off the ignition. Now the battery's been depleted. Well, anyways, don't forget to press your huge like to this video and also subscribe for the channel. By doing so, you really help me a lot. And I wish you all a peaceful sky wherever you are and have a great time.